Hi guys, so today I'm gonna show you how to install your kit on your ERIDE Pro bike. So we're gonna start by removing the mud guard we have here. So first we need to remove this mud guard if you installed it. Okay. Then we need to remove the screws on the other side. I'll remove them here. Okay, now I can remove this. And now we need to remove this chain guard. I need to remove the chain guard. It has several screws. I have already removed them. So basically you need to remove 3 screws, one on this side and 2 on this side. Okay, now we're going to remove the side brackets. On the left side you need to be careful because the pedal sensor, the side stand sensor is there, so you don't snap the cable off. So first we're gonna loosen these screws so we can remove the side bracket. You may wonder why I have very long Allen keys. It's because it's easier to handle more torque, so it's easier to unscrew and screw the bolts. Remove one. Since this bike has the brace installed, we need to remove the side brackets on both sides. Now we're on the other side. Okay, now we removed it. Be careful not to damage the side stand sensor cable, which is there. So I'm gonna remove this brace. Okay, now here's the side stand sensor. So we need to remove this jam nut. You may need to use a wrench. So okay, we can remove it totally. I think that would be easier. So then you need to take the sensor and start unscrewing it, and every 5 turns or so, then you need to release pressure on the cable. Like we can do it on this side. I'm gonna move to the other side. Okay, so now you take the sensor, then you can start unscrewing it. Careful not to snap the cable off. You may need to do this every number of turns so you can release pressure or torsion on the cable. Okay, we see that it's almost off. Okay, now we finally took the sensor off. We can just put it in here and leave it there until we finish. Now we're going to remove the side stand. So For me, the easiest way is to remove this nut. It's a nylock nut, so it needs to be done with a wrench. Okay, afterwards we'll just loosen this screw. Okay, we can do like this and just remove the side stand. Careful not to lose these shims. There are two of them. And then we must remove this pin over here. That's the spring pin. Now we're going to install the side stand on the pedal kit on the left side bracket. So maybe get one of the shims, put it here. You need to check if you need to use one or two or none. I will use, let's see how it goes with one. One works very well. So first we put this screw in. Not too tight, because if you put it too tight, then the side stand will have resistance when you're trying to put it up or down. Yeah, it should move easily. There. Now we use the nut here, the back. Okay, there it goes. Now install this pin. Now we're going to install the side stand spring. It may be the trickiest part. I like putting the side stand down and then making the short hook on the upper part and put it on this way, like this, so I can put this screwdriver here and then start doing some lever. And there we go. Now we have our side stand installed. Now we can install the left side bracket on the bike. We just put one screw here and the other screw here. And if you are using the pedal kit, the basic pedal kit, you can tighten it totally. If you are using the kits that have mechanical gear and chain, then you should not tighten it totally, because later we can use this movement to tighten the chain. But if you're just installing the basic pedal kit, then you can go ahead and tighten it completely. Okay. Now we're going to install the side stand sensor if you want to install it. Actually, I don't like to install it personally, but just in case you want to install it, then you can just put the jam nut here and you can lower the side stand so you can measure where it will touch the side stand there. Okay, and then we can just use one zip tie, put it behind, another zip tie, not tighten it too much, just a little bit until you hear one click. Then you can go like this, have the jam nut sit in the middle between the two zip ties. Sorry. Then put the other one in the back. Okay, make them tight so the side stand sensor will hold. I'm gonna raise this. Then you can just cut the zip ties. You can get a pair of scissors or just use some pliers. Okay, and maybe you'll want to hide this. And there we go. Now we have our left side bracket installed and the side sensor is working. After you install the sensor, the side stand sensor, please remember to get a zip tie to fix the position here for the cable. So we can use a zip tie here. Here to fix the position of the sensor cable. We don't have any issues. Okay. Now we're going to install this spindle. Take the spindle and check this side that has one dimple and put the collar on. Then try to match the screw with the dimple there. Okay, now you can tighten it. Then you need to put this side into the left side bracket. Now we're going to install the left side bracket. Make sure that the crank has an L so that it's the left side bracket, and the pedal also is branded with the L. So now you take both and start putting the pedal in. It's important to have both left sides, otherwise the thread may get stripped. And then we can just put the crank onto the spindle. Then we take our screw here and then we take our Allen key, and start tightening the screw. Since the screw has thread locker, it's a little bit tough. Okay, now it's tightened. perfectly. Okay, now we're going to install the mud guard back on. So you need to check it's on the other side of the swing arm on both sides. Okay. Okay, now make sure you have this guide that carries the rear brake hose. Then we're going to install this screw first. Okay, now the other screw. Okay. Now on the other side, the other two screws. Okay. Now we need to install this protection bracket on this part. So what I recommend is that you remove this collar, so it'll be easier to install that part. It's not necessary, but I prefer. So we can take this collar off, take the spindle off the kit. Okay. Now we will install the part. Now if you see this bracket has like this belly should be facing backward. Now install the part here. Now we take the screw, put it on the Allen key, and then have the screw pass through both holes. Okay, there we go. Then we put the Allen key in the screw. Then we take the nut and we start the thread with our fingers. Okay, there we go. Okay, make sure you fix it well. Now we can insert the spindle again. More or less there. We need to fine-tune it afterwards, so we put the collar in. Okay. Now we're going to install the freewheel hub. Make sure it's facing this side, not this way. This side is not forbidden. Make sure it's facing this side so the freewheel will work. Now slide it on. Okay. Now you will slide on the collar, which is here. So now you slide on the pedal sensor. It may help if you put on a little bit of water there, so it'll be easier to slip on. Then you have to push with your fingers and rotate Put with your fingers and rotate until you can put it onto the spindle, then slide it on. Then you need to put on the collar, and last, we're gonna fix this afterwards, and last we put on the right side bracket. Okay, now we take these screws, fix the screws there, and okay, and now we're gonna put on the pedal. So now we take on the crank with the pedal. Remember, you need to match the right side crank. Here it has an R with the pedal that also has an R there, and make sure it has an offset of 180 degrees with the other crank. Now we take the spindle screw, okay, tighten it properly. Then we go with this other screws, not all the way in, but until the bracket is flushed against the chat and against the frame. Okay, and now we need to check that the distance of the crank is almost equal on both sides. So yes, maybe we need to just adjust it here a little bit. There we go. Distance is the same. I mean, by eye checking you can measure it, but here seems fine. Okay, now we are going to install the split sprocket, so we need to loosen these bolts. Remove one screw. Now we remove this one and we put it over the jack shaft. Okay, now we need to put the two halves there. So we can fix this sprocket just by using one screw. Okay. Now make sure this top screw is not tightened or it will interfere. So again, we just have one screw. Make sure you check that this sprocket is aligned with the freewheel below. It doesn't have to be completely aligned. We're gonna do that afterwards, but check that the chain will go through the middle of the suspension hole. Okay, so now we can tighten this screw. Okay, and then we can just spin the rear wheel a little bit, and then we can have this hole now. and tighten this other screw. Now you can find a position that can let you tighten the screw. For example, here. There we go. Now it's completely tightened. Okay, now the other side. Okay, and just for caution, you can adjust this one, but it's not totally necessary. Okay, now we're going to install the chain. So we need to open the master link. Do it like this, putting one tip here on the pin, one tip on the tip of the master link. Take it off. We take off this little bracket, take the pin off, and now we have an open chain. Now we are going to install it on the bike. Okay, now we take the chain and just drop it over the split sprocket. There we go. Make sure it's well aligned over the teeth. And then you can just spin the wheel to have the chain fitted as you want. So now we take one tip of the chain and bring it here through this hole over here. Then we put it on the freewheel. I'm gonna turn the wheel a little there till we have this. Now we take the pin, okay, so we do like this. We take the pin, okay. Now we take the bracket. Now we take the pin, the clip, I mean, sorry, and then just press. And it's important that the open side of the chain is facing downwards. It should be always in opposite direction of movement. So there we have the chain installed. So now we need to find where to tighten the chain, so you can check for the flat spot on the spindle, and make sure at least one screw is on the flat spot. So we're gonna tighten the screw, not too much, just a little bit, so that the freewheel hub can move, but it will not go out of this flat spot area. So too much, loosen a little, and there we go. It cannot go out of this area. Now, to fix this position, we need to make sure that the spindle doesn't move. So this is what these collars are for. So we just flush the collar against the bearing, tighten it, these have set screws that have a cup point, so they will bite into the spindle. Now we do the same on this other side here. Okay, now we need to make sure that we also keep the position here, so we flush the collar against the bearing. And tighten the set screw. There we go. So this will guarantee us that the spindle won't move. Now we can fix the position of the freewheel hub so the chain is aligned. So now we turn on the bike and please check that we can move it. So now we start to accelerate slowly, and we can pedal. Now this will guarantee that the chain is aligned. Now we go full speed. So the pedals stayed still, the freewheel is working, and the chain is aligned. Now we need to tighten the chain. Now first we need to check that if we pedal manually, the chain is okay, nothing is rubbing against anything. If by any chance the chain is rubbing here, you need to shift the freewheel hub here and also the split sprocket that's on top. But here we have enough clearance everywhere. Now we're going to tighten the screws to make sure that we maintain the position. There. Now we're going to tighten the other one. And there. We have this position fixed. Okay, this protection bracket is making sure that when this chain here, when you pedal, this chain will get tightened on this side, so it will rub against this protection bracket. Otherwise, if you're not propelling the bike with the pedals, the chain will not rub there. But this is made of hardened steel, so it will withstand the chain rub there. But when you're accelerating or coasting, the chain will not rub there. Now we need to fix the chain tension. You can loosen all 4 of these bolts. Let me put it a bit upward here. Now we need to loosen all 4 of these bolts. Just slightly. Then repeat on the other side. So here I like how the chain tension is. I don't like to have it too tight. It should have slack. It should move about an inch more or less. So because if we have it too tight, the chain will rub on the protection bracket, and I don't want that. So I will just tighten it here where it's sitting naturally. Remember to tighten this at 22 Newton meter. And then repeat the same procedure on the other side. Okay, now we finished installing the mechanical part. You can see you can pedal and the bike will move. Okay, so now we're going to finish installing the pedal assist. Okay, now we need to remove the bash guard, or not completely remove, but we need to open the bash guard. So we need to remove the screw on both sides, and then this screw we just need to loosen it. Okay, now repeat the same procedure on the other side. Now once you have removed this screw on the other side and loosen this screw on the other side, then we can open the bash guard. Now we can take the pedal sensor connector and pass it through here. Okay, and then later on we're gonna fix the position with a zip tie. Okay, now we are going to install the 3-position switch. Now we just need to remove these screws with a Phillips screwdriver. I'll take off this side. I'll take off the screw on this side. Okay. Now we can install the 3-position switch. I prefer putting the cable through here, and I like the switch on top. I've seen some people install it on the lower part. I prefer to have it here like this. So now we take our Phillips screwdriver and fix the position. Okay, now we just finished tightening here. There we go. Okay, now we need to route the cable so we can follow the same route, for example, as the brake hose. Then we can just put it through here and then put it through here. Okay. Now we can just keep routing the cable. We can use these guides that we have here. Okay, so now we need to remove this guide here. We remove the screw. Open the guide and put in the cable from the 3-position switch. I'll put the screw in. And put the screw back in there. Okay, now the guide is secure. Now we remove this other screw here. The screw, and put this cable here also. Put the screw in, this bushing, and then fix again where the screw was on top of the controller corner. Okay. Now we take this cable and follow this same route, but since we have a zip tie here already installed, we're going to use another zip tie to secure the position here. Okay, so now we come through here. If you want to have this go backward, you just pull it from the brake side, and this is the controller, sorry, the throttle control. So now we take another zip tie, can have it through here, get the zip tie, and then get the cable coming from the 3-position switch there, and just secure it to the zip tie. Okay, now we just cut this zip tie here. Now we're going to install the pedal controller. So take this cable, which comes directly from the throttle. You may have to cut some zip tie that's closing in this boot, but you need to trace this cable that's coming from the throttle. Then you open. Okay, and then we take our pedal controller, which is this one, and then we connect it here, and here. Okay, now you take the tip coming from the pedal sensor. It has a little tooth here, and you connect it to the female connector on the pedal controller. Make sure you align the arrows that are on top. There we go. Now we take this cable that comes from the 3-position switch, which is female, connected to the male on the connector, and align the arrows there and connect. And now we have finished installing the connector. So now we need to make things tidy. So you may want to put these cables here inside of the boot. Okay. And put the controller here behind this boot and shift this. Okay, now we need to make things here a little bit tidy. There we go. Now we can raise the bash guard. Make sure all cables are there. And make sure the bash guard goes in easily. So now we need to align this hole here. So a trick is that you can push with your Allen key until the hole is aligned. Then you can insert the screw, and now you take your Allen key make sure the screw is going in the right direction. Okay, now you repeat the procedure on both sides. Make sure you tighten this one also. There we go. Now to fix the pedal sensor position, you take the zip tie, which is the long one, and put it here on top of the fixed part here. Put this part of the zip tie, the one that has the lock, between the sensor and the bracket, and now insert the tip of the zip tie into the lock. There we go. And now we just need to tighten the zip tie, and this will secure the sensor position. Okay, now you take the pliers and just cut the part that's coming out of the zip tie. There we go. Now the sensor position is fixed. Now we can move the pedals and the sensor won't move. Okay, now we need to make things tidy here. So we can just get these cables and see that we don't have any issue when turning the handlebar, but we can grab, for example, this. And then last, grab these cables again here with another zip tie. Okay, not tighten, just as a guide, and then we just cut the excess here. This one and this one. And there we go. Now we're gonna see how it works. So here we have installed the electromechanical kit. So here we are gonna see how we can move the wheel here. And now if we turn on the bike and we put the bike on position 0, we can accelerate. If we put the switch in position 2, we can also use the throttle. If we put the switch in position 1, we can use the throttle and it will work. Okay, in position 2, the throttle will work. And also, if we use the pedal, we can start using the pedal. So that's how it works. Enjoy.